Chapter 11. A friendship that outlived the marriage. There are some connections that time, distance, and even heartbreak can't fully erase. Ours was one of them. The marriage had ended. The love had changed. But somehow, even through everything we didn't say and everything we did wrong, a friendship remained. It wasn't always easy. There were long stretches of silence. There were tense phone calls, awkward exchanges, and moments when pride tried to build walls between us. But underneath it all, there was a quiet respect that never died. Maybe it was the years we had spent building a life together. Maybe it was the children. Maybe it was the way he never turned cruel, even when he had every right to be. Whatever it was, it kept us tethered, loosely, gently, long after the papers were signed and the rings were removed. We never became best friends. We didn't talk every day or confide in each other like we once did. But we stayed kind. We stayed considerate. And in a world that can often be cold, that small act of grace felt sacred. He never threw my mistakes in my face. He could have. I had given him more than enough material. But he didn't. He never used our past as a weapon. Never tried to shame me in front of the kids or poison their view of me. Instead, he chose compassion, even after everything. And that kind of mercy? It changes you? I don't think he knew how much I needed his kindness. How, in moments when I felt like the worst version of myself, his gentleness reminded me that I wasn't beyond grace. He didn't excuse my choices, but he didn't condemn me either. He simply saw me. Flawed, but still human. Broken, but still worthy of peace. And slowly, that friendship became one of the few places where I didn't feel like I had to perform. I could ask how the kids were doing. I could say thank you when he brought them to see me. I could sit in silence next to him and not feel like I had to explain who I had become. Because on some level, he already knew. And he never made me prove my growth. He just let me show it. One visit at a time. One conversation at a time. It wasn't a perfect friendship. There were still moments of tension. Still old wounds that pulsed if we picked at them too much. But there was peace. A mutual understanding that neither of us had walked the road we thought we would. And yet, here we were, still present in each other's lives, not out of obligation, but out of choice. I think that was the part that softened me the most. He chose to keep the door open, even when he could have shut it forever. He chose to show up, for the kids, for me, for the life we had once tried to build. I never took that lightly, and I never confused it with something more. It wasn't romantic. It wasn't about unfinished business. It was about dignity, about honoring what had been, even as we both moved on in separate ways. He lived. I lived. And somehow, that little bridge between us never collapsed. There's something beautiful about a friendship that survives the wreckage of a marriage. Something sacred about two people who can look back at all the damage and still say, I see you. I forgive you. I wish you well. He didn't have to be my friend, but he was. And that quiet, steady presence, especially in my hardest seasons, became a reminder that not everything ends in hatred. Not every story has to be bitter. Some can just evolve. And that evolution gave me space to begin rebuilding myself. Not for him, not for redemption, but because someone believed I was still worth rebuilding. Even after the love ended, even after the loss, even after the lies. Sometimes what survives isn't the romance, it's the respect. And that, I've learned, is more healing than any reunion ever could have been.